Chapter 8 Electricity. Learning Objectives. Consumption of electric energy. Life, neutral and earth wires. Electrical safety devices. Two types of charges. Atom, some facts. Conductors and insulators. Charging an object. Electroscope. Static changes in the atmosphere. Lightning conductor. Directions of conventional current and electronic current. Battery construction, grouping of cells. Dangers of electricity. Calculating energy consumption. The watt W is the unit of electrical power, which is the rate at which we use energy. We pay for electric company for the use of energy. A kilowatt kW is equal to 1000 watts. Watt is a prefix. That means 1000. Note that kilo is the normal prefix of kilowatt. W is the normal abbreviation for watts and H is the normal abbreviation for hours. A watt hour WH and a kilowatt hour kWh are units of energy, where 1000 WH is equal to 1 kilowatt hour. The equation relating energy and power is energy is equals to power multiplied time. For example, if a 75 watt bulb power is turned on for 2 hours time, it will use 150 watt hour or 0.15 kilowatt hour of energy. Energy is equals to power multiplied time. Do you know how electricity reaches your homes? Electricity from power station comes by two wires, live wire and neutral wire. Household circuit consists of 3 wires. Live wire red in color, neutral wire black, earth wire green. Earth wire is used for safety purposes. Any current leak to appliances flows harmlessly to earth, while an electric current is passed through a metallic wire. The wire gets heated up. Why the wire gets heated up? This is due to the heating effect of electric current. Electrical energy consumed is measured by meter. Electrical energy consumed is measured by meter is a unit called POT, Mode of Trade, unit or kilowatt hour, kWh. 1 unit is equals to 1 kWh. 1 kWh is equals to 36 lakh joule is equals to 3.6 multiply 10 to the power 6. Live, neutral and earth wires. A lot of means powered appliances require 3 wires. To work safely, only 2 of wires are used when the appliances works properly. These are the live, brown and the neutral, blue wires. The live wire carries current to the appliances at a high voltage, and neutral wire completes the current and carries current away from the appliances. The third wire, called the earth wire, green and yellow, is a safety wire and connects the metal case of the appliance to the earth. Any leakage of electric current is transferred to the ground. Electrical safety devices. Fuse. If an appliance develops a fuse, the current may become too high. This would cause the wires in the flex to get hot and might cause a fire or damage components within the appliances. Every 3-pin plug has a fuse connected to the live wire. The fuse has a thin piece of wire inside it, which is the weakest link in a current. If too much current flows, the fuse wire overheated and melts, breaking the circuit. As the fuse is connected to the live wire, this is disconnected the appliances from the electricity source, making it safe for a person to touch without the risk of electrocution. Circuit breaker. Circuit breakers are devices that protect circuits from overload current conditions. They do the same job as fuses, but they are not destroyed when activated. They are more expensive to put in than fuse, but since components rarely needed to be replaced, may be cheaper in the long term. Circuit breakers are often considered safe since the user can't as easily disable them. Like putting the wrong size fuse is placed. Circuit breakers functionally open a switch which turns off all the electrical current before the excess electrical current can start off a fire. Before resetting the current breaker, always turn off or unplug the electronic devices that were being used when the breaker was activated. Electrical grounding. Electrical grounding or grounding originally began as a safety measure used to help prevent people from accidentally coming in contact with electrical hazards. Think of your refrigerator. It is a metal box standing on rubber feet with electricity running in and out of it. You use magnets to hang your children's latest drawing on the metal exterior. The electricity running from the outlet and through the power cord. Electrical components inside the refrigerator are electrically isolated from the metal exterior or chassis of the refrigerator. If for some reason the electricity come in contact with the chassis, the rubber feet would prevent the electricity from going anywhere and it would sit waiting for someone to walk up and touch the refrigerator. Once someone touched the refrigerator, the electricity would flow from the chassis of the refrigerator and to the unlucky person, possibly causing injury. Grounding is used to protect the person by connecting a green ground wire from the metal frame of the refrigerator. If the chassis inadvertently becomes changed for any reason, the unwanted electricity will travel through the wire back to your electrical panel and tripping the circuit breaker, stopping the flow of electricity. Additionally, that wire must be connected to something that is in turn connected to the earth or ground outside. Typically, this connection is a grounded electrode, such as a ground rod. Static electricity. We are all familiar with electricity and are so much dependent on it that right from the moment we get up in the morning till we go to sleep at night, we use one or the other appliances run on it. The lights, fans, irons, geysers, refrigerators, televisions, room heaters, air conditioners all work on electricity. As studied in the last chapter, we know that electricity is a form of energy. In all the appliances, the electric current flows due to motion of electric charges. We flow these wires. However, there is another type of electricity which does not flow. This is called static electricity. The word electricity has been derived from a Greek word electron, which means amber. Amber is a tree resin. Greeks in early times knew that if amber rod is rubbed with a piece of cloth, it acquires the property of attracting small pieces of paper or dry leaves. Similarly, you must have noticed that when you run a comb in your dry head, it acquires the property of attracting small pieces of paper. This is due to the fact that electricity is generated in the process of rubbing, which is called static electricity. This electricity has the property of attracting small pieces of paper, etc. The accumulation of electric charges on the surface of a material gives rise to static electricity. Let us perform an experiment. Similarly, if you inflate a balloon and rub it against some woolen cloths, it acquires electrostatic charge. Now, if you bring it near a wall, it will stick to it and remain struck for hours. If you take two balloons and rub them against a woolen cloth, both of them will acquire charge and repel each other. Two types of charges. In a large number of experiments carried out by scientists, it has been proved that there are only two types of electricity charges. These charges have been conventionally named as positive and negative charges. We can show this by the following experiments. Why the two rods attract each other? We can assume that the glass rod and ebonite rod did not have same type of changes. Glass rod was rubbed with silk and ebonite rod with flannel. So, in other words, they developed different types of charges. Conventionally, we say that glass rod acquires positive plus charge and ebonite rod acquires negative minus charge. So we finally conclude that first, there are two types of charges, positive and negative. Second, two bodies having like charges, that is both having positive charge or both having negative charge, repel each other. Third, two bodies having unlike charges, that is, one having a positive charge and other having a negative charge, attract each other. Atom. Some facts. An atom is the smallest particle of an element which can take part in a chemical reaction. An atom consists of three kinds of particles. First, electrons, which are negatively charged, protons, which are positively charged, and third, neutrons, which do not carry any charge and thus are neutral electricity. The core part of an atom is called nucleus. Nucleus contains protons and neutrons. The electrons revolve around the neutrons in some permitted orbits. The electrons in outermost orbits are called free electrons or valence electrons. They are loosely bound to the nucleus. The total negative charges of the electrons is equal to the total positive charges of the protons. Thus, an atom is electrically neutral. The proton and a neutron are roughly of the same size and are held inside the nucleus by storage nuclear forces. The change on a proton is positive and change on an electron is negative. If a body gains electrons, it gets negatively charged, while a body which loses electrons acquires a positive charge. Conductors and insulators. When these charges are at rest in a body, they constitute static electricity. The mass of a proton or a neutron is about 1836 times the mass of an electron. The bodies that easily allow electric current to flow through them are called conductors. For example, most metals, graphite, human body, etc., copper and silver are very good conductors. A conductor has a large number of free electrons which move inside it. When iron or copper rods are rubbed with some materials, they acquire charges, but these charge flows through our body as they are good conductors. The bodies that do not allow electric current to flow through them are called insulators or non-conductors. For example, rubber, mica, glass, ebonite, etc. are insulators. An insulator does not have free electrons. When these materials are rubbed with some material, they get charged and charge stays on them as they are insulators. Charging an object. Charging by friction. We learned in the activities that when two bodies were rubbed against each other, both get charged and the charges acquired by them are equal to magnitude but opposite in nature. For example, when a glass rod was rubbed with a silk cloth, glass rod acquired positive charge and the cloth an equal amount of negative charge. Whenever two bodies are rubbed against each other, some of the free electrons move from one body to the another. The body loses the electrons, acquires a positive charge, and the one gaining electrons acquires a negative charge. This is due to the fact that electrons are negatively charged particles, as discussed earlier. In the case of rubbing the glass rod with silk cloth, the glass rod loses electrons and silk cloth gains electrons. Thus, glass rod gets positively charged. This happens because the surface electrons in glass rod are more loosely bound than in silk cloth. Due to friction, heat is generated and these loose electrons are transferred to silk cloth. In fact, whenever rubbing takes place, bodies get charged, but the amount of charge is negligible and is not noticed in our daily life. For example, even while the teacher writes on blackboard, or you write on your notebook, or walk on ground, the production of charges is there which is not noticeable. Charging by conduction. An uncharged conductor can be charged by touching it with a charged conductor. This process is called charging by conduction. Charging by induction. We can charge an uncharged conductor by yet another method called charging by induction. In this process, physical contact is not made between the charged and uncharged body, but the charged body is brought very close to the uncharged body but not connected with it. The end of the uncharged body nearer to the charged body acquires a charge opposite to that of charged body, and the far end of the uncharged body acquires the same charge as that on the charged body. This will be clear from the following activity. since unlike charges attract and like charges repel. The positively charged rod will attract the electrons in the sphere towards itself. Thus, the nearer end N of the sphere will acquire a negative charge due to concentration of electrons, and the far end F will acquire a positive charge as electrons have moved towards and N. Now touch the far end F with your finger as shown in the above figure. Some electrons will flow from finger to the sphere and positive charge of the sphere will be neutralized. Thus, sphere will be left with only a negative charge. Electroscope. An electroscope is an instrument which is used to detect and test the presence of small electric charges on a body. A gold leaf electroscope is very sensitive, and the presence of even a very minute quantity of charge can be detected by it. The gold leaf electroscope. A gold leaf electroscope consists of a glass bell fitted on a wooden base and a metal rod called stem, having a metal disc or bell, usually a brass, on its one end and two small gold leaves. Attached to its bottom, the glass bell jar has an insulating plug at its neck through which this stem passes. The plug insulates the stem from the jar. The gold leaves are very thin and capable of detecting minute charges. There is a metal foil on the lower inner side of the glass jar which is connected to the earth. This helps the gold leaves to hold charge for a longer time. The glass jar protects the leaves from air current. A gold leaf electroscope GLE is used for the following purposes. First, to detect charge on a body. Second, to determine the nature of charge on a body. Detecting of charge by an electroscope. As discussed earlier, we know that a GLE can be used to detect charge on a body. When a charged body is brought near the metal ball of the GLE, the two gold leaves of the electroscope diverge. If there is no charge on the body, the leaves do not diverge. When a charged body, say a positively charged rod, is brought near the ball, electrons are attracted towards the ball and concentrate on the ball. This causes a deficiency of electrons in the leaves, which leaves them with a positive charge. Since both the leaves have positive charge, they repel each other and diverge as shown figure 6.9. Similarly, if a negatively charged rod is brought near the ball, again the leaves will diverge, but in this case they will be charged negatively. However, when the charged metal rod is taken away, the leaves converge as electrons redistribute and there is no charge on a body using a gold leaf electroscope. Charging an electroscope. An electroscope can be charged in two ways, by conduction and by induction. In the conduction method, the charged body is touched with the brass ball of the electroscope and the ball, and the leaves acquire the same charge as the charging body has. In charging by induction method, the charged body is brought close to the ball of the GLE, but not touched with it. The ball acquires the opposite charge of the charged body and leaves acquire the same charges as that on the charged body. This can be shown by the following two activities. Determining the nature of charge on a body using an electroscope. We can determine the nature of charge of a charged body using a GLE as given below in the activity. Take an electroscope and charge it negatively. The leaves of the electroscope will repel each other and show divergence. Figure 6.12. Now touch the charged body, whose nature of charge is to be determined to the brass ball of the electroscope. If the leaves of the electroscope diverge more, then the charged body is having negative charge. If the leaves of the electroscope collapse, then the body is positively charged. Similarly, if instead of a negatively charged electroscope, we have a positively charged electroscope, even then we can determine the nature of the unknown charge of the body. In this case, on touching the body with unknown charge to the brass ball of the electroscope, if leaves determine further, then the unknown charge is positive. If leaves collapse on touching the unknown charge body, then the charge on the body is negative. Static charges in the atmosphere. You are all familiar with lightning and thunder. Many a time we also read in newspaper reports about lightning striking some place causing damage to buildings, trees, crops and even human life. But have you even wondered how lightning strikes during thunderstorms? It is believed that large amount of electric charges built up in the clouds before a thunderstorm. When a massive electric charge moves from one cloud to another cloud or from a cloud to earth, a spectacular bluish-white light is produced in the clouds. This is called lightning. Thunderclouds carry static electric charges which separate out in clouds. Generally, upper portion of a cloud is charged positively and lower portion negatively. Air acts as an insulator between these charges. However, when clouds with unlike charges come close to each other due to flowing winds, the insulation of the air is penetrated and there is a heavy electric discharge between the two clouds or between a cloud and earth. This discharge causes expansion and vibration of air, which we can hear as. This discharge causes expansion and vibration of air, which we hear as thundering sound. The light produced is seen as lightning. Though both lightning and thunder sound occur at the same time, we see the lightning first and hear the sound after some time because speed of light is much more than the speed of sound. Lightning conductor. We know that lightning can cause a considerable damage to buildings and other high-rise structures. In order to protect these buildings or towers etc. from potential damage during a thunderstorm, a lightning conductor reduces the possibility of lightning. A lightning conductor is a very simple device. The idea to use lightning conductor was mooted by Benjamin Franklin. A lightning conductor is a long metal rod of iron or copper. It is connected to a metal plate buried in the ground through a thick copper strip. The upper end of the rod has pointed spikes. When thunderclouds pass over a building, when a lightning conductor is fixed, an opposite charge to the one on clouds is produced in the spikes due to induction. Now these opposite charges, unlike charges, attract each other. Thus, charge of the cloud passes through the metal spikes into the ground and the building or tower is saved from the damage. Precautions during lightning. Lightning consists of very high energy electric discharge. It can damage buildings, trees, and can even be fatal for humans. It can cause fires and melt metals. We should take the following precautions to safeguard ourselves during lightning. During lightning, do not remain in open. Take shelter inside a building, as lightning is more likely to strike higher objects. Do not stand under a tree. Do not stand on high ground. Directions of conventional current and electronic current. We know that heat flows from a body at high temperature to the body at lower temperature. Similarly, water flows from a higher level to a lower level. Similar is the case with charges. We have studied that when two bodies are rubbed, they got charged. One gets a positive charge, which has a deficiency of electrons, and the other gets a negative charge, which has an excess of electrons. However, the charges are static on the bodies. That is, they do not move. As discussed above for heat and water, charges also require different levels to flow. In case of charges, this difference in levels is called potential difference. The charge flows from a body at higher potential to a body at lower potential. The positive charge flows from a body at higher potential to a body at lower potential and vice versa. In the below figure, shown two charged metallic bodies installed on insulated stands. Body A is having a positive charge and is at a higher potential, and body B having a negative charge and is at a lower potential. Connect these bodies with a metal wire. A flow of electric charge takes place between two bodies and continues till the two bodies attain the same potential. The flow of electric charge through a conductor consists an electric current. This current flows due to the potential difference between two bodies. In electricity, a body having a positive charge is considered at higher potential and a body with negative charge is considered at a lower potential. We studied earlier that positive charges in an atom are located in nucleus and are not free to move. It is the free electrons in an atom that are capable to move. Thus, it is the flow of electrons that constitutes the electric current, or more scientifically, electronic current. In the figure discussed below, through the current moves from body A to body B, but the electrons move from body B, which has abundance of electrons, to the body A, which has deficiency of electrons. Thus, we see that electronic current flows from body B to body A. However, conventional current flows from body A to body B. Battery construction, grouping of cells. In general language, battery means an array or collection of similar objects. In electronics, a battery is a collection of similar electrical cells grouped together. An electric battery is constructed by grouping electrical cells together in various ways, namely series, parallel, and mixed connection. To construct a battery, cells can be connected together in series, parallel, or in mixed manner. Each type of connection has its own specialities and disadvantages. Here we will study about construction of battery by series grouping of cells. Series grouping. In constructing a battery by series grouping of cells, the cells are connected in series. To form a battery, the positive terminal of each cell is connected to the negative terminal of another cell except for the two end cells. The two end terminals of the construct act as the positive and negative terminals of the battery as shown below. In the series grouping of cells, the total EMF of the battery is equal to the sum of EMFs of each cell. For example, if we connect a group of 10 1.5 watt cells in series to form a battery, then the total EMF of the battery will be 10 multiplied 1.5 watt is equals to 15 watt. If E1, E2, E3 and so on, En, E3 up to En are the EMFs of each cells used to construct the battery, then the EMF of the battery E can be calculated as E is equals to E1 plus E2 plus E3 plus up to En. The total internal resistance of the battery in this type of construction is also the sum of internal resistance of all the cells used to construct the battery. So, R1, R2, R3 up to Rn are the internal resistance of each of the cell used to construct the battery. Then the total internal resistance CF, the battery R, can be calculated as R is equals to R1 plus R2 plus R3 up to Rn. This type of battery construction is used when high voltage is required, and as the internal resistance of the battery is the sum of the internal resistance of all the cells. This types of battery provides strong current for the loads having very high resistance as compared to the internal resistance of the battery. Dangers of electricity. Dangers of electricity. Dangers of electricity include a variety of hazards that include electric shock,